All right, great. So I'm going to do a tableside tutorial. I've got quite a few players playing against me, so we're going to just discuss the hands as we go. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask or type the questions. That's totally fine. Actually, let me change my settings. Is that the wrong one? All right. Yep, so you applied. That's good. All right, so we can play reasonably well as we can. And if we notice any leaks or whatever that we can try and exploit, then I'm going to use them. I made like a variety of different on-table techniques, which you guys probably aren't quite used to yet. So there's always the option to do stuff like multiple preflop sizes. I just want to fold. I think this might just be a fold. Could be wrong. It could be the white in my ranges. One of you guys should have my ranges up and just like tell me how to play preflop, because I forget.
Okay, I just joined the table. I'm 2 yard left. I'm supposed to leave the call, right?
Yep. So join both tables.
Okay. I'm not sure I can join both because I only have a limit of 35k chips. It's kind of weird, but
Okay. Well, whatever. So if you want to play against me, you can leave the call. Otherwise, you can
okay.
just sit
All
it
right.
out. Sit it
I'll
out.
leave.
All right. Okay. Someone's got some background noise. Pretty sure it's a fold. Was it low jack versus whatever? Are you is your mic's working, isn't it? Probably should raise this.
Check.
Yep, that's fine. So with the backdoor flush draw, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be an always raise. That's not the best card. All right, so here, what do you guys think? You can either give up or... Pretty sure this is an open. Giving up's totally fine. You don't have to bet everything. This hand might... especially because we check raised pot on the flop. Definitely fine to have some give ups. Sounds got a fair amount of showdown value, but the draw value is very strong. You have to go either way. So what do you guys think about this turn card? Is this good for him or is it good for us?
It's good for us. It's kind of a...
What makes you say that?
Well, I think it's... I don't think it helps either one of us. He has more fives though, probably, actually, in the big blind, now that I think about it. But it doesn't change things a whole lot from the way they were on the flop, except for the fives got stronger.
All right, and now he bet 1/3 on the turn and then check to us on the river. So what do you guys think about this?
That we have showdown value.
Yeah.
And not much else.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely too strong to bluff in that spot. I'm just going to check and win a fair amount of the time.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So we're doing a tableside tutorial, as you can probably see.
Hey.
Yep.
So definitely in the button versus cutoff, should almost never have a flat here. So all right. So if I were to bet, who am I value betting against?
The button.
No. So you value when multiple pots, you value bet against the person to your right. So I'd be value betting against the big blind.
Mm-hmm.
And then the buttons, bluff, continuing range, bluff catches type stuff. Generally will...
Oh, like, sorry,
be
I made a mistake when I said that. I meant like you're hoping that like the button has like made mistakes so that he'll continue weaker, but anyways.
So what do you guys think about this turn card?
It's pretty much a blank.
Yeah. So is this river good for us or bad for us in terms of our range?
In terms of our range, it's pretty good. And especially for our hand, it's pretty good, but it doesn't really change much. We were ahead before, we're ahead now. Like, villain clearly has a flush draw here.
right, so pretty straightforward so far. We can go back through a hand, I guess. Yeah, so this call is probably a mistake with a lot of hands. In terms of the raise, sort of like what is it representing? Part of the reason why these top pairs are very easy call on the flop is because they block like two pairs and stuff for value. Of course, he might even raise his own sort of ace jack, king jack type hands as well. Can't remember doing this one, probably calling.
My mic was muted before, but what I tried to say was like for button flatting ranges, there's not. I've seen like some other ranges where it's sort of allowed to basically button flatting range only. Like seems not bad, but I'm in agreement that flatting is probably not the best.
Yeah, I mean, against the cutoff, it's usually. I mean, you know, all the hands that are profitable flat are also profitable as a 3-bet as well. So
yeah, I had more had a question about the big blind range there.
I'm sure.
Like
Yep.
like does by the big blind raising like and then leading turn or like betting again on the turn, it seems like or he raised pretty big on the flop and then like what's he representing at all there?
Yeah. That's the
Like
that's the question. There's plenty of bluffs they could have. And if all of them are going to bet, then I'm just going to call, right? It's not going to be very effective. Those bluffs might have higher EV checking alongside your stronger hands going for a check raise, and then that way you get to see the river. Hopefully,
it's not like it's a board that's full of stuff for him to have.
He just wants you to think he has trips a lot, I guess.
Like just hope, like just make you think you flopped a set, like just
and you'll fold your overcards, I guess. Medium pairs.
Oh, king queen makes sense. King queen with a backdoor, yeah.
yeah. I mean, usually not great to try and pinpoint the guy's hand because you're going to make a lot of mistakes doing that.
Yeah.
Too specific.
Yeah. What happened here? Was this low jack, big blind? I mean, yeah. On this board, you got like way more aces in the low jack, so you can just bet very small rather than the half pot bet. Here. Yes, I would just bet one big blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still enough. But part of it, you got to be sort of mindful about what sizes that your opponents are using. They're using multiple raise sizes, say they're using like 2.5 and then 2. You got to think about what their polarity is like.
Mm.
So what do you guys think of this board? Good or bad?
I mean, it's not great because there's a king, but it's not a terrible board. It's unless he has a king, which is a small part of his range.
Yeah, you want to try and avoid using words like small because it doesn't really mean too much in terms of trying to communicate that with someone else. But you can definitely guess at how much of a king is in his range. You can say stuff like, "Oh, I only think his range includes 10% kings, right?"
Sure.
Or 20%, whatever. And that means a lot more than small because small can just mean anything. Of course, you can also give a range of in terms of your guess. So you can say, "Oh, I'm guessing his range only includes like 10 to 15% kings." Then you can use that moving forward.
Sure.
In terms of this particular hand, where is it? Betting this is 55% bet size on the flop. That's fine. It could also go smaller as well. So yeah, once again, if you guys have any questions, ask away. We're talking about the hands that are going. So this is what 6 max. It's pretty slow. I mean, this is the. Can imagine how playing one table of full ring casino is just
Yeah.
just awful. Can't remember.
Yeah,
It's
so
2.25, Queen 7. I think this is probably a fold. Someone's gonna have to check that. I don't have the 2.25 ranges up, but it's gonna be somewhere between 2 and 2.5. Against 2, it's probably a call. 2.5, probably a fold.
I've been if
Yeah.
it's a small blind, I've been calling, and if it's the big if it's a button that has position on me, I've probably been just folding it.
The marginal call from 2 big blinds. Yeah, I mean, when I face I've been using the Zenith ranges, and whenever I face a open that's not there, I just sort of look at the close ones and approximate, and I think it's probably fine.
Yeah, that's definitely an okay way to do it. The ranges themselves aren't perfect, so you can deviate from them at your own discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Probably any table tendencies or anything could sway it either way.
Yeah, definitely. So thinking about an entire range, there's no straights on this board. Probably one where we can just make a roughly pot-sized bet and be fine. Not sure what happened here. Someone leave and came back or something. When that happens, you can open up a little bit because of the extra dead money. of course, Queen 10 offsuit is definitely in the button open range anyway. The difference is now he's much wider. We're thinking what bet size to use.
Probably small.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind half pot with this hand. If I had a hand like ace, 10, jacks, queens, kings, then I could probably get behind going for an overbet. So this is an absolute rook for us, and it improves some trips for him. So for that reason, I'm okay with checking back, at least at some of the time, and then deciding what to do on the river. So we've got to think about what is representing with this bet. Given this was an absolute brick, whether he's got some tens in his range, could probably go for a thin raise. I think his trips would have bet twice the pot. Oops.
For value.
Is it?
Yeah, for value, the trips would have overbet, I think.
The trips would probably bet like somewhere, I don't know, something like pot to full pot to like pot to two pot. But is that really thin raise there?
Yeah, you got to what would we have, a 9?
I also, yeah.
All right, maybe it was too thin. You got to make thin raises.
Mm-hmm.
I think our player pool doesn't raise the rivers at all right now very much, so it's just uncommon for small stakes, right? Even though it shouldn't be. But it carries over to my play as well, I think, right now.
Part of it is that we only bet half spot on the flop.
Yeah.
Another thing is that we also beat 9-7, so
Pretty good run out.
Yeah.
Does he got all of his pairs? So something got to think about. I think so. We only bet 2. We only bet 1v1 on the flop, so.
Any pair, I think would have just, well, maybe they'd make a thin raise, like if they had a, it doesn't, like look you up with an ace or something.
I don't think people are going to be. He needs to be able to bluff that some frequency, and people generally won't check a king there.
Probably should raise that. Why is it open? I can't remember.
No, not from the hijack.
Jack 9 off. Can't remember. It's probably a fold actually.
It's fine as a call.
Is it? All right.
Yep. Hmm. On the right there, I'm not sure if you saw the hand. The one that's happening now.
All right. We can look at it when it's done.
Yeah. Okay. Just a question, like the overcaller. Interesting.
Is yeah.
Like that's a weird.
That's really bad.
So my main question is going to come here. This overcall here, like in theory, that's got to be like super nutted, right?
The cold call against no, not necessarily.
I mean,
Yeah, look at it again, I guess. Something going on there.
you might want to play your nuts.
No, I mean, sure. All right, so we can go back a few steps. Work through the hand. So pre-flop. All right, so check raise and then so it's a brick, right? So we can go
Yeah.
for another check raise, I guess. So pre-flop. So open and three bet, and this is just like a cold call.
Yeah, I have no
So-
idea what that range is, but
So first off, the cold call is pretty bad.
mhm.
Just like in general, don't have a cold calling range. Is that a jam? So double check raise and then shove the river. So yeah, generally don't have a cold calling range. Doesn't make any sense really. Um, okay, this is the flop. All right, bet third pot. That's reasonable. Cold calling here. It's okay too, I guess. And squeeze. Sorry, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, I was going to say like just keep getting hands to play, huh?
So what do you guys think about this board?
Dry.
Yeah, it seems like fine to just go half pot with like almost all the range.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, it's still a brick. So we can check it. We can bet it. Okay with whatever. I mean, there's gonna have some flushes here.
Why is the 4 not a brick?
Yeah, so the 4 is a brick.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I'm checking the aces.
Wait, so normally when bricks come, you can often continue betting.
Yeah. That's fine. So we're going to bet quite big, right?
Hmm.
Or we can check aces in particular because it double blocks ace high. It blocks those check back hands.
Yep.
And so it can work well as a check call on those turns, or even a check raise depending on how big they bet. And then after they check back the turn, they don't have you don't have to worry too much about.
Is there an ante in this game?
Ace high, and no, he's just set out.
Oh.
And then on the river you can bet it. All right, so where were we? Sorry, what hand did he have? Figure that out. Jacks. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely bet the turn with jacks.
Yep.
There's not a lot of reason to. Yeah. Okay. We got the interesting one. Yeah, in this one. So.
Yeah, this is the hand. This is the hand.
Yeah, this is right. Yeah, so the cold call is meant to make sense. Raise, and then like you're playing monkey in the middle. First of all, like, you're out of position, so like it's just better to play your entire range as a 4-bet pre-flop. You avoid situations like this.
Like a middle pair draw type hand that he's stuck with or something.
Hmm?
Well, yeah, you'll avoid the situations where you're just like out of position against two players in a 3-bet pot with a cap pre-flop range.
Sure.
It's just horrible. And you're squeezed on. So like you're not super worried about sets and stuff. You're more worried about like who's got the bigger pair at this SPR. SPR's like 5 on the flop. I'm sure there's a call. Let's go. Turn. What happens? Checks through. And then a pot size shove in the river. And a fold. Yeah, I mean, it seems reasonable. It's just the just going to here's not played so well. I think everyone else.
From the small blind, like when you face these like I have no idea what a small blind fighting a 3-bet range might be, right?
Yeah, it's just better to play for better fold. It's all easier.
Right. So playing against it,
you don't lose as much. Maybe playing against it, you should be quite conservative, I think.
Okay. All right.
So this hand's got nothing going for it except for it's okay. It's top pair draw, and then like it's marginal bottom pair draw. So it's pretty fine to check fold.
First, when you luck bucks like Thomas.
Yeah, you just got to luck buck like me. So we got top pair, right? So what size are we going to bet?
Pretty big.
Yeah, so this.
Oh wow. Flush draws would definitely be better at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, not to worry about the flush. The both players' ranges are quite wide.
Yeah.
After he goes check back, check. There is the argument that he's got a lot of king high, king X type hands that took this line as well. I think on the turn, definitely all of his king highs or weaker can probably be bet the majority of the time as a bluff. So then on the river, you're worried maybe about ace king, after that line, king queen. or two pairs in terms of the hands that hit the king.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge amount, and because it's not a huge amount, we could just go for some fat value against a pair or ace high. This is on a little bit of the bigger side, but that's okay because often you can, in this formation, be quite polar. Definitely don't want to bet too big. But I don't see an argument for checking this.
No, I wouldn't check it.
I mean, sometimes when you've got like top set, you can take strange lines with it. This is a cold call from the small blind. That was a bit odd. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that sucks for him.
That's
Yeah.
dirty. That's dirty.
Yeah, that was happening either way.
I mean, he probably should have raised the flop.
Mm-hmm. What happened on the turn there? I missed it. I was looking.
I checked back.
You check back?
So yeah, the turn's very much a brick.
Yeah.
So pretty comfortable with like the SPR is 2, so I'm gonna get it in. Don't really care if it's got a straight because a straight probably would raise the flop. So checking back the turn and then shoving any river is the play there.
Yeah. Especially like 3-bet pots. Would you not normally want to like get the money in over 2 streets as opposed to 1?
Yeah, so we did that by checking back the turn, having him bet for us.
Wait.
On the river.
Oh, okay. But I guess a lot of the time he's gonna check. He's gonna go check. Like he's gonna check you on river.
He's going to check to us, and then we're going to bet, and then represent a king and hope he raises us, and then we can shove or whatever. So yeah, that's how you get a river. Multiple bets. We're definitely not just going to shove when he checks.
Oh, I'm talking about the 10s hand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
just for everyone, yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So 3-bet. Call. Yeah. So he checks.
So if he checks, then I'm going to bet something like half pot and hope he raises me. Because I'm trying to represent a 10 at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here, small one, this is cut off. I think we've got enough of a range advantage to sort of press it with a quarter pot, half pot bet.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely if he called us there with our jacks, we could probably slow down the turn. with the jack of hearts, it's not as good. I mean, it's probably fine. Like in terms of the boat draw, it's not as good to be blocking the flush. But on the other hand, having a heart gives us a backdoor flush draw. So definitely moving on to the turn. If the turn was a brick, then we don't want to have the jack of hearts, because half the time when we make the boat, the flush comes in. So any questions so far about any hands we played?
This is not about a hand we played, but I just saw it happen. Like we opened from the button, and then the small blind 3-bet and the big blind cold 4-bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just in terms of ranges to be played for both players, for I guess the small blind and the button, like the button can basically play 5-bet or jam, or 5-bet or fold rather, like jam or fold.
Yeah, the range there is going to look like kings plus an ace king probably.
Yeah. Okay. And then the small blind, can they be doing a fair amount of flatting, or do they need to really like tighten up?
What, against the all in?
No. Sorry. Like assuming the button folds, like you will
yeah. You just play out of position as though you made any, as though you're calling any out of position 4-bet.
Okay. I've been just facing it a lot lately, so just curious.
So there we got like a lot of ace high, and then having a jack isn't amazing in terms of blockers. I'm not sure what happened there. He timed out against my 15% pot bet. Can't remember where this one was open. It's pretty close.
I do not think so.
You don't think this is an open? Yeah, you're probably right. I think 7-5 is.
It's marginal. Yeah, it's a
It's wide, is it?
It's a razor fold, or it's like a indifferent. Sorry.
All right, I see.
Is that like that small bet meant to block a lot? Like
Yeah, it's just meant to block. So I'm like expecting him to call like a lot. So I don't really know what hands they're folding there or how often they fold.
Like I guess does it really just like prevent him from bluffing you off a lot of the time?
Not really, because you can always just raise.
Yeah, but
So it's not really. So all blocker bets like that, they're all value bets.
right,
But you don't need to get called by worse more than half the time.
because you're out of position, right? Yeah.
Because you're out of position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can type. If you have any questions, you can just type. That's fine. Yeah, solvers use blocker bets all the time. Out of position on the river. I think this is a low frequency 4-bet, if I remember correctly.
I'll check, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4-bet.
Is it low frequency or high frequency? I can't remember.
Low frequency. I normally take that to be like 33%.
Oh, there's in my ranges. There's yellow and orange.
Yeah. It's
This
yellow.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I normally go something like 33% for the yellow and then like 80% for the orange or something like that.
Yeah, I mean the exact frequencies you use don't matter because you've got solvers that are all a bit over the place.
Uh-huh. We not have to value bet this river.
Sorry.
We not have to lead this river. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, hand is very good a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I think when we make this size, we're reasonably close to the bottom of our range, a value range at least. So we can fold. If I had a diamond, I might consider calling, but
Wonder what he had.
so that's a very small 3-bet from out of position player. Now with this hand, do I like checking king queen? Yeah, maybe yeah. Sometimes.
Can you replay it?
I think king queen off might be a fold against the 3-bet in this setup. I'm not. Yeah, just want you to check on the turn, check on the river. Yeah, there might just be better hands to trap with than this one.
Definitely see the like kings or no, like so your strongest king.
Um, 22%, 55% on the flop. They're just bet sizes, so just use whatever you're comfortable with, really. The whole idea that you can see bet your entire range for like a third of the pot isn't very good.
Okay, I'm back. I think it's better for me if I just watch.
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, I'll see if I can give you the YouTube recording.
Anything in particular you would have to say to my play? I think
Yeah, if I said it I would have already said it. So let me just put the link in. So I'm dropping the link into the tutorials and teaching chat now. So that's the link for the recording, so you can watch that.
Okay.
Quickly and just go over some of the hands that I played against you as needed.
Okay.
All right, so I'm not sure where George is going, so hopefully he's going to sit in, but if he doesn't sit in soon, then one of you guys can then jump in if you want. But if you're comfortable just staying here, that's fine as well.
If you'd rather it be six ring or six max, then I can
I don't have much of a preference. If it's five max, then we just get to play a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, no, I was up really late last night playing, so I'm good to just watch right now. Like versus these cold 4-bet spots, I like really don't know a good range to continue.
Yeah, so when you're out of position, you can play a little bit closer to shove or fold. I mean, obviously you can have some calls, like having the sixes there, pretty close-ish to the bottom of the range in terms of the three bet.
Yeah.
Might continue with it some other time if I wanted to have a fair few pocket pairs in my Naraman's in. That's good. Naraman, if you want to play, you have to leave the talk here. Otherwise, you get to see my cards. Okay, he's gone. You can't really.
I think you just have enough chips.
Yeah.
Yo.
Hello.
Should I sit out?
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to join the call, you can just sit up, stand up from the table.
I'm to your left, but I don't have. I can't reload to 20k. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, just you can just leave from both tables. That's
okay.
fine.
Okay. All right.
All right. I don't know what's having that. Yeah, I don't know. Poker size isn't great with play money transfers for whatever reason. All right, so I put the link to the recording into the tutorials and teaching chat, so you can watch that. And I might have some comments on hands that you might have played. It's a fairly bad flop for us. So I'm going to do a fair amount of over folding. Don't think this is a particularly good card to donk. Yeah, in terms of having a 5, makes for a decent check raise, I think. Only got their 9s. Yeah, okay. So the bet size for a flop like this, these are connected flops, usually quite big, closer to pot. And because of that, you want to be relatively polar with your betting. Definitely want to have some good backdoors. Yep. Yeah, that's probably fodder anyway. I don't think having a 7 is particularly useful in the checking range, so I'm just going to bet it. I'm probably betting too small.
I'm very curious as to what he had.
I think he's got a queen. He's probably got king queen. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think of his flop raise? Do you think it's necessary to start turning that hand into a bluff?
yeah, definitely not. I mean, king high there's got a lot of showdown value.
Mm-hmm. You can argue for like queen jack, right? Or
yeah, I mean, you do want to have some king queen in your raising range at some frequency, just because like on a jack, then you can make the nuts, and then you can have that in both ranges, but definitely not as necessary to have king queen versus queen jack. Be comfortable flatting most of those hands. Now, one of the things you notice when you look at a lot of sims is that when the out of position player was sort of made a small bet on the previous street, and I mean that might be a call. Made a small bet on the previous street and then checks a small bet on the flop and checks the turn. The instrument player usually uses quite a polar strategy, so they're betting quite big. Just because the option player's range is pretty merged. So yeah, I mean, how do you attack merge ranges? You attack merge ranges by using a polar range.
Mhm.
And that often means a bigger bet size.
How do you attack polar ranges?
You
Check.
Yeah, it depends what you mean by your polar range. Usually, you're getting attacked by a polar range, like you're getting into by a polar range. But if you know that they've got quite a lot of very weak hands protected by just a few very strong hands, as is the case in like when you face a check raise and then the turn is a brick and then they check. In that situation, you can bet small. Mainly with the intention of trying to deny equity from
Is crap.
all the junk. On the river, it's definitely a bit different. So I don't. So this board's fairly good for us. I don't really understand the use of that small bet size. It's still a.
Oh, you probably missed a call there on the right.
Oh yeah. So just explain the one on the left. So against this small bet here. Yeah, you're just going to get raised a lot. This is going to continue quite a bit. Of course, there is the whole range advantage thing. That's why I have to fold King High without any additional backdoor. But it doesn't really get a lot of value from all the milli hands that are in the opponent's range that wants to call and see turns and rivers.
I'm not sure why it doesn't feel like a spot where you should be betting small versus a big blind calling range, but I'm not sure.
Why on the 7-5-3 you shouldn't be betting small? Yeah, I mean there is an argument for betting a bit smaller with some hands, but
Yeah, like
the
some hands that need
majority
protection.
of the time it's going to be quite a big bet. And by some hands, I'm just mean like pocket sevens.
Pocket sevens make a lot of sense to bet small, but
Yeah.
Feels like a board where you should either check or bet big, but
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying, right? So
Yeah,
betting
like you
small
should
doesn't.
probably check back aces, right, in that spot.
Yeah, maybe. But betting small doesn't accomplish a whole lot, right? The hands that want to see the turn are going to quite comfortably call and see the turn, so you don't get a lot of value out of them. And in terms of a bluff, that it's not quite as effective. You don't get the folds that you want. Yeah, so here's the spot, right? So I would have expected him to bet like quarter pot, half pot. So when he checks, I'm thinking that his range is quite merged, so I want to use a relatively polar size.
Queen high might be good here.
I mean, probably not, just because of the range asymmetry from preflop.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
But
hard to.
there's not a lot of benefit with these blockers to be bluffing it. Just because if you've got a queen, you block folds from your opponent's queens, and if you've got a 10, so that doesn't really do much. But blocking folds is the main thing. That's why you can't bet a king even if the king's got like no show, no value. Like always loses. You can't bet a king because you're blocking folds.
Would you have called King Jack suited in my spot? That pot we played, EP versus BB. You were BB, and the flop is King Jack 10. You check raise flop, check raise turn, and jam river. Do you remember?
Your way, Queen 9.
Oh, okay. So you had the straight. Okay, but
yeah,
would you have called King Jack in my spot?
yeah.
Okay.
The top two pair, yeah, probably would have called.
And would you bet 1/3 on the turn like I did? Like I
Yeah,
figured
that's fine.
still needs
I think
protection.
King Jack played it okay.
Okay.
I mean, the river, like, because if I'm only making a half pot bet, I can probably bet worse for value.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. The thing is, I kind of block your worst value bets as well, right? Like Jack 10, maybe. And even then, I'm not sure you played bottom two paired that way. When I say you, I mean the solver, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get me to fold top two pair. So I think as well, good for us, good for him. It's probably a lot better for him, right? Also, like, I want to be able to make a pair, draw to a pair if I can. It's like ace, king. All those hands, if I make it like a pair, I'll be pretty happy.
Feels like.
I mean, it feels like ace king, but like I can't. I'm not really gonna. I'm sorry about jam. Just because the thing is about ace king.
I actually think
Tom,
he was pretty fucking strong there with the previous hand. I think he was really strong. Like
Yeah.
Jack 10 suited or pocket jacks, pocket 10s, waiting for check raise, something like that.
Thomas? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't think any of those hands should check raise just because
Block everything.
they block everything. Yes, sorry, someone had a question.
Yeah, just not in particular here, but what stakes do you usually play?
All of them.
Okay.
You like overbet this, no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see too much benefit to checking. I was just contemplating bluff jamming. Just contemplating it.
That's never a play I would make. Bluff jamming there. Is there a reason you thought to do it?
Yeah. So when he raises, he's always got a straight or
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
And sometimes I've got king queen. So
Blow off a chop.
yeah, he's bluffing him off a chop.
I just think that he'll fold a 7, call a queen too often. And maybe some people find a fold with queen.
Do you think he needs to raise versus your overbet?
Yeah, probably. And I might have
A 7.
a 7. That,
This turn is like much better for him.
it feels that way for our hand.
So probably for him. Like probably picks up backdoor hearts often enough and
I would definitely bet bigger, but with the intention of probably checking back river.
it just feels like he just improved to many draws. Like anytime he has a 10, like now he's got his backdoor straight draw coming in and or same type of thing with his like
I mean, there's no reason why those hands can't all bet. So
interested to see what you do here.
so you just think of 50% rule. So
Yeah, I was gonna say check.
it is definitely not necessary to check raise the turn.
10-8. Yeah, he can just
It's cool. Yeah.
I think it was your F-bot bet that kind of induced him to check raise.
You probably want to be a bit more polar.
Mm-hmm.
if he doesn't have 10-8, let's say he has something like King 10, so he doesn't have the pair. Yeah, if he has something like King 10 or something like that, which has no, or Queen 10, like, yeah, Queen 10, let's say, which is the no showdown, like it's got no showdown value and no pair, just the straight draw. You could turn that into the raise, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to bluff something, you just pick whatever from the air you've got. You don't really have to turn hands with a pair into a bluff. So it's a pretty nice right hand.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
turn.
it feels like 2.5.
Just feels like you've been sunrunning today, huh?
Yeah. It's good for a hand and it's good for a range. A
Yeah.
range filled with like ace X and king X. So
Are you range checking the flop or?
I don't think so.
I think you just have to make up 50% roll at some point.
Yeah, I'm probably not range checking the flop, but I'm not certainly not range betting it either. Can't remember either of these.
Pretty sure it's
I'm pretty sure both of these are a raise.
I'll check.
Yeah, I'm not exactly quite sure about that one.
High check versus low jack is a 3-bet. And then Jack 4 suited, I'm pretty sure is indifferent. Yep.
Yes, I mean on this board, the Queen Jack 4, pretty good board for us because a lot of the good hands would have 4-bet.
I was checking the ranges. What did you do there? Queen Jack 4?
I bet half pot.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, makes okay, good. That would do.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean the plan is just get the money out of 3 streets. There's no like, I mean, sorry, like SPR is 1.5. I mean, obviously it feels a bit uncomfortable, but we're able to just bet whatever, clear pot, half pot, that's all fine, and then shove the river for like half pot.
What's your worst value bet on the turn? Would you bet say kings?
Well,
Or does it
there because I'm betting quite small. I could probably bet kings.
Mm-hmm.
And then like check river,
Yeah,
like
seems
kings,
reasonable.
and then check river with that small bet. I'd also do the same sort of thing with some of the weaker aces. And then check the river, and then just get to win it and try to win it straight down. But if opponent jams into us, then all the ace X will probably snap it off, and then kings and queens might be indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that you can make these blocker bets on the river. You can also make them on the turn and then check the river. Obviously, it's not quite as clean to do it because the river's going to change things. So either like quarter pot or half pot is totally fine. I think with the 2 in particular, I'm going to check back.
Oh, really? I thought it was a bet.
Just because it blocks some of his hands, which are going to check the river.
Okay, can you explain again the deuce blocker effect?
I mean, if he's got a 2, he's going to check, right? So if we block a 2, then he's more likely to bet into us. It's
Okay.
very small.
Yeah, it's probably a very small part of his range, right?
No. Wait, Thomas,
Yeah.
you
I mean, he
really?
might even have a 2, so I'm not even. I might just be talking about out of my ass, but yeah.
If he has a 2, then he would check.
Mm-hmm.
He checked, so you block the checking range that he's already checked.
Yeah. So if he has a 2, he would have checked. So like me having a 2 reduces the chance he's going to check the river.
With a 2, yeah.
Yeah. So he's more likely to bet into me.
Still not getting everything.
Okay. So we've got a 2, so we block his checks on the river. So he's more likely to bet into us, so we can jam.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You meant for the, okay, I get it. Why can't we pot this turn?
The ace is really good for us, so
Yeah.
we want to be wanting to bet quite frequently to try and get called by like a king or a jack when we've got an ace, and so having the ace there and protects our range against raises. And then river probably check jam. I think this one's pretty close.
Yeah, it is right on the cusp. I was just checking.
I mean, I'm not sure why betting big is yeah, I don't really see why he's betting big. Like the 10 helps him a lot. So usually you just want to bet a like 3/4 half pot type size. They can do the same thing if you got a 7 or pocket 8s or something, pocket 9s, and then check back the river. And then if you got a 10, you can bet big on the river. So it's not really doesn't make as much sense to polarize on the turn when you could instead polarize on the river.
Do you think Ace 9 makes it into our flop calling range still?
Yeah, I mean he only bet one big blind, so we've got
Oh,
quite
right.
a few hands
Okay.
there.
Yeah, true.
Probably continuing with a lot of Ace X.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, can you explain again the bet sizing on the turn? Is bet sizing why you agree or
Yeah,
disagree?
so the 10 is really good for him because it brings in a lot of his 10x bluffs from the flop.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those hands will want to bet to get value into a 7, but also like his 7s, his stronger 7s, his pocket 8s, pocket 9s, they also want to get value from a 7 as well, and sort of like deny equity from
Right.
overcard, from like 2 overcard up hand.
What
So
size did he go with?
he went for like 1.2, something like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I would have thought it makes more sense like 60-70%. You get some good value if you've got 8s or 9s, right,
Mm-hmm.
against a 7, or like you've got a strong 7, you get some good value against
And
even
just polarize
ace
the
high.
river, right?
Then whatever the river is, you can check back those milling value hands, and then going to the river, you can get more polar.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's not quite necessary to get polar on the turn because like then what are you going to do with like your 8s and 9s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to check back and let another overcard come through.
Either that or you're gonna value cut yourself if you
Yeah.
bet too big with those hands. Yeah, makes sense.
So it's just like the big bulk of the range wants to bet for a smaller size. So
Mhm.
that usually means that if you've got a very strong hand or a bluff, you also want to chuck it into that size as well.
Kind of an interesting spot, I guess. We're gonna have a ton of pocket pairs as well. Are we gonna bet those on the turn for protection?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. I think I want to get a bit more polar on the turn.
I think it's better to have a pocket pair here, right? Because we don't want to block.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
blocking his ace X hands that might bluff.
I don't think any ace X.
Okay,
Should
you
block.
think he takes it to showdown? Okay, yeah, probably right. So you can make an argument that you kind of unblock King Jack, right? But you also block King Queen, I guess. So
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of the block effects with ace queen of clubs there is pretty bad.
mm-hmm.
I mean, pocket pair is just stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You kind of don't want to have overcards, pretty much, right? Rather have pocket pairs.
Yeah, but the pocket pairs are stronger.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to have some blockers, then maybe blocker to a flush is relevant. Well, the reason the three is pretty much a brick. It doesn't bring very many strong hands to the opponent's range. Like there's not like what 3x hands raise pre-flop. It's like ace 3, maybe king 3, but then like nothing else. So it doesn't. It's an absolute brick. So usually on bricks you want to get a bit more polar. So my turn sizing would have been relatively polarized.
How do you pick which 10x hands you're checking back, if you're ever checking back 10x?
Just with which overcards I think block the checking range on the next street.
Okay.
So like ace 10, make a good check back. Because
Right.
remember we discussed that he
Mm-hmm. We block his checks on the river with ace high.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that check back on the river there is very tight, I think. Mm. 100% see about that. That doesn't sound very good. The 966 doesn't really do much for you, I don't think. If you're on the right hand side, I got open in a 3-bet. Seems okay, I guess. I mean, LoJack's going to have more like pocket pairs, but I think the button might have some more nines. I can't remember this one. This one, the 4-bet or fold. I've been 4-betting for value a lot recently, so let's just chuck this in.
Low jack versus cutoff is a pure fold, but there's good arguments for it.
It's a pure fold, is it? All right,
Yeah.
my bad.
Sorry, I haven't been talking much. I'm really tired, but
No, that's fine. I think how long are we going for? I think we're going for 2 hours, so it's very quite short.
I might take off. I'm not paying too much attention. I'll just watch the
Yeah, that's
video.
fine.
All right, yeah. Thanks for playing, Thomas.
No worries. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Now, I mean, here he checked back twice. I think I'm going to just play out half pot for value. Get called by those weaker pairs or ace high. I think his hand is indifferent to free betting. We're a little bit deeper, so because of that, don't want to play out of position as much. Here on the left, this is a good board to overbet. It's just quite difficult for the big blind to have too many good 2 pairs there. And so if I've got like pocket tens, pocket jacks, or those hands are basically the nuts on the flop, but there are a lot of difficult turn cards for them. So bet big, get value now, fold out some overcards. So when the overcard does come, it's not as bad. Yeah, I think the hand could go either way, pre-flop, in terms of raising, calling, or folding. You know, I would have thought they would have raised, bet into me pretty frequently to press his range advantage. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any benefit in turning this hand into a bluff. I don't expect to win too much at showdown either, but just having an ace blocks his folds if I'm trying to get him to fold ace high, it's not good. Yeah, there's a fair few stronger ace highs in my range I can call. Float is out of position. Yeah, not the best turn card.
Check raise in that situation on that flop.
You check
Maybe-
raise, yeah. Definitely, if I had a king with a backdoor flush draw, then I would
Start
check raise.
considering that.
Yeah. It's difficult for me to like not have a pair here in this spot, so I'm going to be betting this. All right, so you guys have any questions? Going for quite a while now.
No, not right this second. I haven't. I'm kind of new to Zenith, so you guys use ranges like what I use, and but I think some of what I would is a little out of context until I get further into the training materials that you guys have that everybody is familiar with.
Yeah, so the preflop ranges on the website that I put up, roughly the ranges that I'm using here. I'm not looking at them currently, so if I'm a little bit off, then that's why. But yeah,
Absolutely. They're similar to what I mean. Everything makes sense. I'd have more questions if I had the context of what the like what you guys have been learning and doing.
yeah. I mean, if even if you're just like not sure why you made a play, or it's a different to a play that you would have done, it's fine to just ask a question. There's plenty of different people at varying skill levels in Zenith, so yeah, just ask away. A question that you ask, it might help someone else
Absolutely.
at a similar skill level to you. So make sure to ask.
Thank you.
Regard the way we're looking at with a spade. I mean, the small bet, it's not making too much sense. Consider raising this hand, definitely. We're just going to let it for now. I probably would have also called a fair few like ace highs against that small bet as well. So ace isn't very terrible for me. I think with the king blocker and the spade blocker, go for a bluff catch with the king 8 here. I had like 10-8, then I might value bet. Now, there is a lot of training material on the website. And I think last time I checked it was just over 100 hours worth of video. I mean, not all of that will be terribly exciting, but
Yeah, I started looking at some of the fundamentals materials, some of the sample games and things that you had on there while I was at work a little while ago, and I've seen some videos I kind of listened to, but it's a lot. It's pretty intensive, so uh, I'll find time to actually do a good job of trying to study, and where to start in all of that. There is a lot. You're right. It's a nice site.
thanks.
I found it through some of the guys that are in my forum group, a small forum group, and that's how I gravitated. They're all members as well, so I kind of vicariously have ended up here.
Oh, great, excellent. I think I'm going to raise this hand.
You think they don't?
Yeah.
The range doesn't hit
Word of mouth. Just because if I've got a hand like pocket jacks, pocket kings, pocket queens, like aces and stuff, they're either going to bet big or they're going to check raise. And this hand's got real decent blockers and good equities to draw to a decent hand. So
that's a lot of pressure.
I mean, I'm representing mostly an overpair.
Where do you think you would start with Zenith if you were somewhat, you've been playing for some time, but like, would you start with the tutorials like these that you have on the site that you can catch up on, or if you had like 1 day a week to try to kind of do some catch up? There's 100 or more hours of stuff on there that you could get a new person to your site to really grasp on and start a place where they could branch out from there.
I mean, I put most of it in order.
Okay.
So if you just watch from whatever order, it shouldn't be too bad.
I'll get on the forum too and root around there too, see what everybody's doing. I think they have.
Yeah, I mean, participating in these tutorials, I think most people find them quite helpful, because sometimes we'll talk about concepts which have been done in a previous tutorial, and then like if you want to learn more about that, then you can just send me a message or just put a message in the tutorial and teaching chat, and then someone will be able to dig out that tutorial and give you a link for it.
Great.
I'm back.
Oh,
and you like a small 2x bet size on the button there with the king queen off type hand, with a decent showdown type hand, I guess.
sorry, can you say again? I'm not sure what you mean.
Did you do a 2x on the button there with the king queen for an open?
Oh yeah, so all the opening ranges are 2x.
Okay. I've been doing 2.5, but that's I haven't studied the Zenith, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, so the opening ranges they work on the website there. They work best with 2x.
Maybe a little wider then.
A lot of people find a good amount of success doing that.
Great. Sorry, I turned to look at something. Did you 3-bet that 8-10 suited?
No, I opened it from the hijack, and then I got 3-bet by the small blind. So I folded.
So Thomas, now when you play online, do you have like a cheat sheet open for charts? Like, do you know the charts pretty much by heart now, and you don't need, or?
Yeah, I mean, I know most of them, so I don't need it. But if you're not confident in like knowing exactly what's going on pre-flop, then definitely having the charts helps. The range viewer on the website isn't too bad if you've got 2 screens.
Yeah. Do you have any comments on hands we've played on the tables?
Yeah, so anything that I did have, yeah, he could have got so much more value there. I probably would have said in the
in the video, right?
So you can just watch through the
right,
the link. So I put the link in the tutorial and teaching chat. So you just watch it through there. And if you have any questions, you can just ask it in the tutorial and teaching chat. Alrighty. Yeah, so half-ish pot in the river. I just think that a lot of my hands with a flush will want to be betting that size, so do the same thing when I'm bluffing. I can't remember if it's a 3-bet or not, probably not. Right, so any questions? Anything?
I kind of have a question.
Yep.
You have a specific set of strategies for big blind versus button on monotone, connected, and paired boards.
Yeah, so those videos have been sort of superseded by the text. So the text module.
Yeah, right. It's
is
just
more detail.
yeah. I was wondering if any of those strategies apply to other spots. I know the ranges are a bit different because
there will be, it will be quite similar. I mean, there is a lot of similarity between button big blind and cutoff big blind, as well as like small and big blind in heads up.
what about when, let's say, you're on the cutoff and somebody calls you on the button?
Yeah, then it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
In that particular spot, you're out of position. You've got a range disadvantage.
Right.
So if the positions are very similar,
Yeah,
then
gotcha. If somebody has like a calling range with a lot of low cards, basically, versus a range that is less condensed. But just in general, is there some kind of strategies that you would use for other positions? Is there like a set of principles? Like, let's say you open in a hijack and you get called by cutoff and the board is paired.
Yeah, you can't really use the same thing just because the range is very different.
Mm-hmm.
So when the ranges are very different, you can't.
Oh yeah.
You do make the same ideas. If you go through enough of the tutorials, some of the patterns that you'll see will start to emerge. Sort of range advantage, disadvantage. What kinds of bet sizes you want to use on different boards for the different stack depths.
Mm-hmm. But those videos on button versus big blind, they're still correct. They're still good to use, like the monotone.
Yeah, so the videos are still good to use for those particular positions. The text content has just gone into more detail.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also, the sims in the text ones are a little bit bigger as well. So if you see something a bit odd in the video, it's because the sim is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for you, Thomas.
Yeah.
In the mentor-mentee program, when are the like the presentations due?
Yeah, so the 12 weeks is come up soon. So I'll probably put a link to not a link. Yeah, I might just put like a sign up thing, a post for people can sign up for different times.
Oh, okay.
So are the presentations going to be recorded and put out, or how's it going to be?
Yep. So the presentations will be recorded as well.
And put out as part of a tutorial, if it's good.
Yeah, they'll all be up on the website. It's not a tutorial, but it's just a presentation. So well, basically, some of the mentees have going to be putting together a 30-minute presentation on a topic that they have researched beforehand. So it's going to be a bit variable in terms of.
Right.
Oh, so we're gonna present, and then this presentation will be recorded.
Yeah, so all the presentations will be recorded.
Okay, I thought like creating it, editing a video, and then
Yeah, no, that's
so it's
not.
higher quality, you know.
No, that's not. That's not necessary. I wouldn't ask you to do that. That would take ages.
Oh,
It takes like between 5 and 10 times longer to do that than it does to just make a slideshow presentation and talk through it.
okay. And what's a rough estimate of like a presentation date?
Probably closer to the end of this month.
Okay. I'm starting to manage my time there here. I just bought a house.
Oh, well, congratulations.
bunch of small projects going now.
So here I'm going to barrel this one because I think well, obviously the queen's good, the king's fairly good as well. On the other hand, if I have a weaker flush draw, we check that back just because I want to. The weaker flush draws might even check back the flop. Those ones they want to maintain some of their pair draw value. And the only way they can do that is by checking. Versus the king nine, it's got reasonable pair draw value with the king. So this here is a spot we've got to be careful not to over bluff. Just because we just have so much air. We could get a lot of air. And so we've got to be quite selective about which hands we want to choose to do that with.
Is that a spot you choose your bluffs with blocker effect?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would have bet 10 high there. From his point of view. Yeah, don't let someone chop a pot with 10 high. It's a little bit loose. Yeah, so you choose you do it by blockers mostly. This one I think can be bet quite frequently. All right, I'm just gonna I think your mouth is very close to the microphone.
Mine?
Yes.
I have another question.
Sure.
So like I study okay, so like I do study like the GTO files and stuff like this, and like I'm constantly getting better. But every session that I play, I have like maybe like 10, 12 hands that I mark that I'm not sure about, and I'm just wondering what is the best way to study, because like if I don't have time to run
Yeah,
every single hand.
So
Sorry,
the best way to analyze those hands
yeah.
is to actually post them into one of the chats. So I've got a variety of different chats for different situations. So like live cache, online, well, sorry, online. It's like anonymous / Zoom, and just regular cache. So you can just pick one of them and put your hand histories there, and other people can give you some advice about how they look at the spot.
It's different from Facebook group.
No, it's in the Facebook group.
Also on the Zenith
So
group.
yeah, so if you're on the computer right now, so you just go into the Zenith group,
Yeah.
and then on the left-hand side, it's
Oh.
got like about discussion units chats.
Oh yeah, I see it.
You click on the chats.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gotcha.
there'll be a variety of different chats you can join. You can join all of them if you want.
Mm-hmm.
They do get quite busy from time to time. So if you get annoyed by the number of notifications you can get, you can just mute them.
Yeah.
And then yeah, off you go.
Okay.
Do you have like population reads on Zenith members?
Yeah, some a lot of. You can tell who's well studied and who's not by the way they're playing their hands. Generally, most humans make the same sort of mistakes as each other.
Yeah.
And in most cases, it's got to do with knowing how strong their hand is. Knowing how strong your hand is takes a lot of experience to do.
Like relative hand strength.
Yeah, relative hand strength to the line that's being taken.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there's still like under bluffing generally in Zenith? Or is that like already fixed pretty much?
I think players aren't value betting as thin as they should. And so because of that, they don't realize that they should be bluffing as much as they should either. That's probably fault. Yeah, everyone's leaving, so we might finish up here.
I'm going to ask one more question. I think I've asked this question to someone before, but I just want to confirm. For when you have your RFI, you have a red and you have pink. Pink is open sometimes. Is it just you open that based on player read, or is it just you do like a randomizer and you just open it like 20% or whatever?
Yeah, so that's totally up to you. If you think that the players that you're playing against are just not good, then you can open that hand all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you think they're too strong for you, then you can follow it all the time. And then if you're not sure, you can just roll the dice or or whatever.
Okay, but let's say if you're opening early in the position and you get more calls than normal, is it better? And those players are decent. Do you think it's better to open less for the pink hands?
Yeah, you should open tighter.
Right.
Because just on average, they're not going to make. A lot of their EV comes from having everybody else fold.
Mm-hmm.
So like here, if you notice that low jack opens and everybody folds, that should be happening quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, here for example, these blockers, yeah, I don't really see a case for these blockers being great to have in your checking range. So I would just keep going. But for value, if you're too scared of a 5 or whatever, you can just bet small and get called by a 6 or a queen, or like ace high. But specifically these blockers, I don't think they're good enough to warrant having a hand this strong in your checking range. Sorry, a hand this sort of middling in your checking range. If you want to have like a very strong hand to trap, that's fine. Or if you're just very comfortable with the hand being, sorry, talking about this hand here, being a bluff catcher, then that's fine as well. But I don't see these blockers that you've got here being particularly useful for that. So I would just bet.
I think I generally see that on the river and think I have showdown value that's very stable and that I'm fine to probably win the pot a vast majority of the time. And maybe I don't think about turning that into maybe it's not even a light value bet there.
Yeah, I mean, if you had like a 6 or ace high or something like that, then you can check them. But like a king can bet, a queen can bet, a 5 can definitely bet. And they can bet all different sizes.
Right.
If you have a king, you want to be sort of quite selective about which ones you want to put into the checking range, right?
I want to check the king with hearts because I don't want you bluff non-hearts hand.
Yeah,
Maybe it's better.
I don't really see the argument for that because a lot of my flush draws would have bet the flop, so having hearts doesn't matter so much. It's not like a huge thing. Maybe if you had like a hand like king 6 or king queen, then they might want to check. King 6 in particular, because it blocks checks back with a 6. Obviously, you don't have ace king here. So maybe king 6 can be a king which wants to check. And then like if you check, I can value bet a queen against some of your 6x. And ace high, etc. that you have in your checking range that is going to go for that check call. What else was there? Yeah. In particular, the pre-flop call probably not so good. I mean, here I'm opening very wide because of all the dead money. It's not very necessary for you to cold call there. You can just raise all the hands that you want to continue with. The same sort of idea as when you're playing in the small blind. You play through better fold for most of the time. You just don't want to have the player behind you squeezing or calling, and then you're playing out of position against two players. It's not a lot of fun, especially very deep. All right, so that's the end of that. So I put the link into the tutorial and teaching chat. So yeah, that'll be available. Do you guys have any questions about the tutorial that has just happened? Any questions at all? That get recorded. And then if you want to ask a question that's not recorded, I can turn off the recording.
No
Yeah,
questions.
questions. All right, I'm turning off the recording now. People who are watching at home, have you learned something?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you very much.